The massive space station hung in the darkness between stars. Concordia Prime was the biggest neutral meeting place in the galaxy. Today, its gleaming metal halls buzzed with angry voices and worried whispers. Something terrible was about to happen. Ambassador Marcus Chen walked quickly through the crowded corridor. He was human, which meant he was young by galactic standards. His species had only joined the galactic community 80 years ago. Most aliens still saw humans as children playing at politics. Marcus hated that feeling, but right now he had bigger problems to worry about. The main council chamber was chaos. 3 species were shouting at each other, their translators working overtime. The Kryn delegates clicked and hissed, their insect-like bodies twitching with aggression. Their shells were a deep red color, which Marcus had learned meant they were extremely angry. Across from them, the Valorans stood in a tight group, their pale blue skin glowing slightly. They were telepaths, and Marcus could feel the waves of fury coming from them even without being able to read minds. The Thaxians were the most frightening. These ancient reptilian warriors stood nearly 8 feet tall. Their scales were dark green and their eyes were cold. The lead Thaxian general, Krask, had his hand on his ceremonial blade. That was a very bad sign. Marcus found his supervisor, Ambassador Torvin, standing near the human delegation area. Torvin was a Velaran who had worked with humans for 20 years. He considered himself an expert on human behavior, which mostly meant he thought humans were reckless and emotional. "Chen, stay back," Torvin said without looking at him. "This does not concern us. Humanity will remain neutral." "Sir, we need to understand what happened," Marcus said quietly. "Something feels wrong about all of this." Torvin finally turned to look at him. His large eyes showed irritation. "Wrong? A Velaran trade convoy was destroyed. 300 souls lost. The Kryn did it." "What more do you need to understand?" "But the Kryn are saying they didn't do it. And the Thaxians are claiming the Valorans violated their breeding worlds. All 3 incidents happened within 6 hours of each other. Don't you think that's strange?" "Strange timing does not change facts," Torvin replied. He waved a long-fingered hand dismissively. "You are young, Chen. You do not understand how old these hatreds are. The Kryn and Thaxians have fought before. The Valorans and Kryn have disputed trade routes for centuries. This was always going to happen. Our job is to keep humanity out of it." Marcus wanted to argue, but the council chamber suddenly went quiet. The mediator, an old floating being made of energy called a Luminar, had arrived. Everyone respected the Luminars. They were the oldest known species in the galaxy. "This council recognizes the gravity of recent events," the Luminar said, its voice like wind chimes. 3 separate incidents. 3 species on the edge of war. We have 72 hours to find a peaceful solution. After that, I fear we cannot stop what will come." General Krask stepped forward, his heavy footsteps echoing. "The Thaxian Empire has been patient. Our sacred breeding grounds were violated. This is an unforgivable offense. We demand justice." A Velaran speaker, an elegant female named Shren, moved to the center. "Justice? You speak of justice while our people lie dead in space? The Kryn attack our ships and you defend them." The Kryn ambassador Vex let out a sharp clicking sound.
"We defend ourselves from lies."
"The Valorans fabricated this attack to justify war. They want our mineral-rich worlds. They always have." The shouting started again. Marcus watched carefully. He pulled out his data pad and started reviewing the incident reports. Something really was wrong. He could feel it. The first incident was the Velaran convoy destruction. It happened near the border of Kryn space. The second was a supposed Kryn military buildup detected by Velaran scouts. The third was the Thaxian claim about their breeding grounds being violated by Velaran survey ships. Marcus zoomed in on the timestamps. All 3 incidents happened between 0400 and 1000 Galactic Standard Time. That was a very tight window for events happening in different sectors of space. He looked at the weapon signatures from the convoy attack. The report said it matched Kryn plasma cannons, but Marcus had studied military technology. He had even visited a Kryn warship once during a cultural exchange. The energy dispersal pattern was slightly off. Very slightly, but off nonetheless. "I need access to the raw data," Marcus muttered to himself. "You need to stop playing detective," Torvin said sharply. He had been watching Marcus. "The intelligence agencies from all 3 powers have reviewed this evidence. Who are you to question them?" "Someone who doesn't want to see billions die in a war," Marcus replied. Torvin grabbed Marcus's arm. "Listen to me carefully. Earth has worked very hard to build relationships in this galaxy. We are finally being taken seriously. If you cause problems now, if you make accusations without proof, you will damage everything we have built. Do you understand? Marcus pulled his arm free. I understand that 3 civilizations are about to destroy each other, and everyone is too proud or too scared to ask basic questions. He walked away before Torvin could respond. Marcus knew he was risking his career, maybe even his freedom. Humans were still new here. They had to follow the rules very carefully. But he also knew that something was very wrong with this whole situation. The council session ended with nothing resolved. Each species retreated to their ships. Fleet movements had already begun. In 72 hours, unless someone found a solution, the shooting would start. Marcus went back to his small quarters on the station. He sat at his desk and spread out all the data he could access. There had to be something everyone was missing. He thought about human history. Earth had seen so many wars. Some were justified. Many were not. But the worst ones, the ones that killed the most people, often started because of misunderstandings or because someone wanted them to start. What if someone wanted this war? The thought made Marcus sit up straight. Who would benefit from 3 major powers destroying each other? Pirates, criminal organizations, a 4th power waiting to take over? He needed help, but he could not go through official channels. Torvin would stop him. The other ambassadors would not listen to a junior human diplomat, but Marcus did have one friend who might help him. Her name was Zira, and she was Kryn. They had met 2 years ago during a cultural exchange program. Marcus had helped her understand human literature, and she had taught him about Kryn history. She worked in Kryn intelligence now. It was late, but Marcus sent her a coded message. Just 3 words. Something is wrong. He waited in the darkness of his quarters, watching the stars outside his window. Somewhere out there, fleets were moving into position. Millions of soldiers were preparing for war. Civilians were being evacuated from border worlds, and Marcus Chen, a 32-year-old human who most species considered barely more than a child, was trying to stop it all. His datapad beeped. Zira had responded, I know. Meet me. Dock 47, 1 hour. Come alone. Marcus grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. He did not tell Torvin where he was going. He did not file a movement report. He just went. The countdown had begun. 72 hours until war. Marcus had to find the truth before then, or the galaxy would burn. Dock 47 was in the old section of Concordia Prime. The lights flickered here, and the air smelled like recycled water and metal. Not many people came to this area. It was perfect for a secret meeting. Marcus saw Zira waiting in the shadows. She was smaller than most Kryn, with brown and gold patterns on her shell. Her large compound eyes reflected the dim light as she watched him approach. You should not have contacted me, Zira said quietly. Her clicking voice came through the translator device on her chest. My people are preparing for war. If they knew I was meeting with you, I know, Marcus said, but you said you know something is wrong too. What have you found? Zira looked around nervously. My analysis of the convoy attack does not match our weapon systems. I reported this to my superiors. They told me I was mistaken. They told me to correct my report. When I refused, they removed me from the investigation. Marcus felt a spark of hope. So I am not crazy. The weapon signature is wrong. Yes, and there is more. Zira pulled out a data chip. I copied files before they locked me out. The military buildup that the Valorans detected? Our fleet was not there. Someone created false sensor readings. Who has the technology to do that? I do not know. But whoever they are very skilled. They made it look exactly like our ships. Zira handed him the chip. I am trusting you with this, Marcus. If my people find out I gave classified data to a human, they will execute me for treason. Marcus took the chip carefully. I will protect you, Zira, I promise. You cannot promise that. But I believe you will try. That is why I am helping you. She paused. We have less than 70 hours now. What will you do? I need to talk to someone from the Thaxian side, and someone from the Valorans. If we can prove that all 3 incidents were faked, maybe we can stop this war. Zira made a sound that her translator did not interpret, but Marcus knew it meant she was doubtful. The Thaxians will not listen. They are too proud, and the Valorans will read your mind and know you have classified Kryn data. They will arrest you. Then I need to find Thaxians and Velerans who are willing to break the rules just like you did. Marcus thought for a moment. Do you know anyone? Perhaps. Zira was quiet, thinking. There is a Thaxian named Takora. She was a great navigator, one of the best, but she made a mistake that cost lives. She lost her honor and was cast out. She works here on the station now doing repairs. She has nothing left to lose. Perfect. What about a Veleran? That is harder. Velerans are very loyal to their commonwealth, but there is a young one named Loren. He is training to be a full telepath, but he is not very strong yet. I heard he questions his elders sometimes. Maybe he would help. Marcus nodded. Can you find them? Bring them to meet me? I can try. Where? Sector 12, the abandoned cargo bay. In 3 hours. Marcus checked his datapad. And Zira? Thank you. You are risking everything. We all are, Zira replied. But I did not join intelligence to start wars based on lies. I joined to protect my people. Right now, the best way to protect them is to find the truth. The two parted ways. Marcus went back to his quarters carefully, making sure no one followed him. He plugged Zira's data chip into his secure terminal and began analyzing the information. She was right. The Kryn fleet positions did not match the Valoran sensor data. Someone had created perfect copies of Kryn ship signatures and placed them where Valoran scouts would detect them. It would have made the Valorans think an attack was coming. But who could do this? It required advanced technology and detailed knowledge of multiple species' military systems. It also required access to areas of space that were heavily monitored. Marcus started searching through galactic databases. He was looking for any organization that had the resources and skills to pull off such a complex operation. Pirates were too disorganized. Rogue military groups would have been noticed. Then he found something interesting. Over the past 5 years, there had been small incidents between various species. Nothing major, just enough to increase tensions. A trade dispute here, a border crossing there, some damaged satellites. At the time, each incident seemed like an accident or a minor problem. But looking at them all together, Marcus saw a pattern. Someone had been slowly pushing the major powers toward conflict. His datapad beeped. It was a message from his supervisor. Chen, report to my office immediately. Marcus deleted the message. He could not deal with Torvin right now. He gathered his data and headed for Sector 12. The abandoned cargo bay was huge and dark. Old shipping containers were stacked everywhere. Water dripped from broken pipes. Marcus found a spot where he could watch the entrance and waited. Zira arrived first, moving quickly and quietly. Then came a massive figure that had to be Takora. The Thaxian was even bigger than General Krask, with dark green scales that were scarred from old battles. She walked with a slight limp. Last came Loren, the young Veloran. He looked nervous, his blue skin flickering with anxious patterns. He kept looking over his shoulder. This better be important, Takora growled. Her voice was deep and angry. I do not help humans. I do not help anyone anymore. Someone is trying to start a galactic war, Marcus said simply. I can prove it, but I need your help. Why should I care? The Thaxian Empire cast me out. Let them fight their stupid war. Because billions of innocent people will die, Marcus replied. Including Thaxians. Including children who had nothing to do with your mistake. Takora's eyes narrowed dangerously. No one talked to a Thaxian warrior about their failures, but Marcus stood his ground. You have courage, human, or you are a fool. Takora moved closer. Show me your proof. Marcus displayed the data from Zira's chip. He showed them the weapon analysis, the fake fleet positions, and the timeline of events. Then he showed them his research about the smaller incidents over the past 5 years. Loren studied everything carefully. I sense truth from you, but this data could be faked. How do we know you are not the one trying to manipulate us? You are telepathic. Read my mind if you want. I cannot. You are human. Your minds are too chaotic for young telepaths like me to read clearly. That is why my elders do not trust your species. Then you will have to trust my words and my evidence. Marcus looked at each of them. Someone very powerful wants this war to happen. They have the technology to fake attacks and create false evidence. They have been planning this for years. If we do not stop them, everything we know will be destroyed. Who? Zira asked. Who would do this? I do not know yet. But there is one way to find out. We need to trace the source of these fake signals, find out where they came from. Takora laughed, but it was a bitter sound. That is impossible. You would need access to deep space monitoring stations. You would need military clearance. You would need a disgraced Thaxian navigator who knows how to hack into secure systems? Marcus interrupted. Takora stopped laughing. She stared at Marcus for a long moment. You are either very smart or very stupid. Maybe both. Will you help? The big Thaxian was quiet. Finally, she nodded slowly. I lost my honor. I lost my rank. I lost everything. But I'm still a warrior. If what you say is true, then my people are being tricked into a dishonorable war. I cannot allow that. I will help too, Loren said quietly. My elders taught me to seek truth. This is the truth, Zira clicked her approval. Then we have a team. What do we do first? Marcus pulled up a star map. We need to get to the source of these signals. There is an old mining station in neutral space about 6 hours from here. According to my analysis, several of the fake transmissions originated near that area. That station was abandoned 20 years ago, Takora said. Nothing there but rocks and old equipment. Exactly. The perfect place to hide something you do not want anyone to find. They looked at each other. 4 beings from 4 different worlds, all about to break multiple laws and risk their lives. All because a young human diplomat refused to accept what everyone else believed. We need a ship, Marcus said. And we need to leave without anyone noticing. Takora smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. I know where we can get one. Follow me. They moved through the dark cargo bay toward an uncertain future. Outside, the fleets continued to gather. The countdown continued. 68 hours until war. The ship Takora found was small and old. It was a cargo runner that had been sitting in an impound lot for unpaid docking fees. Takora knew how to bypass the locks. Within an hour, they were in space, flying toward the abandoned mining station. Marcus sat in the co-pilot seat, watching the stars rush past. He had never stolen a ship before. He had never broken this many laws before. But he kept thinking about the billions of people who would die if he did nothing. This is crazy, Loren said from the back. The young Valoran was monitoring communications. Both my government and yours have issued warrants for your arrest, Marcus. They say you have stolen classified information and kidnapped a Kryn agent. They said I kidnapped you? Zira asked, her translator clicking with what might have been amusement. Actually, they say Marcus kidnapped all of us, including Takora. The big Thaxian laughed. I would like to see any human try to kidnap me. This Chen is brave, but he is not that strong. Marcus did not laugh. They are trying to discredit us before we can reveal what we found. Someone knows what we are doing. We have a leak? Zira asked nervously. Or we are being watched. Marcus checked the sensors. Are we being followed? Takora studied her displays. No ships on our trail. But that does not mean much. If someone has the technology to fake fleet movements, they can probably mask a tracking signal. How much longer to the mining station? Marcus asked. 4 hours at this speed. Marcus used the time to study the data more carefully. The mining station had been abandoned after the mineral veins ran dry. It belonged to no government. It was in neutral space, far from major trade routes. Nobody would notice activity there. He pulled up the station's old records. It had housed about 300 workers at its peak. It had a full communications array, repair bays, and living quarters. If someone wanted a secret base, it was perfect. Look at this, Marcus said, showing his screen to the others. 3 months ago, there was a small power signature detected near the station. The automated monitoring system recorded it, but no one investigated. Because no one cares about abandoned stations, Takora said. There are thousands of them throughout the galaxy. Exactly. Hide in plain sight. As they got closer, Loren suddenly gasped. I am sensing something. Minds, multiple beings. They are trying to shield their thoughts, but I can feel them. How many? Marcus asked. 10, maybe 15. Different species. Some I recognize, some I do not. Loren's skin flickered with stress patterns. They are waiting for something. They feel excited. We are flying into a trap, Takora said calmly. She did not slow down. Should we turn back? Zira asked. No, Marcus said firmly. This is our only lead. We go forward, but carefully. Takora approved of this answer. She brought the ship in slowly, using the cover of old mining debris. The station grew larger on their screens. It looked dead and dark, but Marcus noticed that some of the docking bays had been cleared recently. There, Takora pointed. Fresh burn marks on that bay door. Someone has been using it. She docked the ship in a different bay, one that was still cluttered with old equipment. They could hide the ship there. If they had to run, they needed a way out. The four of them prepared to board the station. Takora checked her weapons. She had 2 blades and a plasma pistol. Zira had a small energy weapon. Loren carried nothing. He said violence went against Velaran principles. Marcus had a simple projectile pistol from Earth. Takora had laughed when she saw it. Your people still use those ancient things? They work, Marcus replied. And they are reliable. The station's air was stale but breathable. The lights were off in most sections. They moved quietly through dark corridors, following the power signatures that Takora detected. The signatures led them to the old communications center. As they got closer, they heard voices. Marcus held up his hand and everyone stopped. They crept forward until they could see into the room. About a dozen beings were there. Marcus recognized several species, but some were new to him. They were all dressed in dark clothing without any national or species markings. They stood around a large holographic display. On the display was a map of the galaxy. 3 fleet positions were marked in red. The Kryn fleet, the Valoran fleet, the Thaxian fleet. They were all moving toward each other. 56 hours until contact, one of the beings said. He was a species Marcus did not recognize, tall and thin with gray skin. Everything is proceeding perfectly. The council has dissolved, another said. This one was actually Velaran, which shocked Loren. No one can stop it now. What about the human? Asked a third voice. Chen, he has been asking questions. Chen is a nobody, the gray-skinned leader replied. Even if he found something, who would listen to him? He is just a human. The major powers will not trust anything he says. Marcus felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept quiet. Still, he managed to recruit help, the Valoran traitor said. A Kryn intelligence officer, a disgraced Thaxian, and one of our own telepaths. Loren is weak. He barely passed his initial training. The traitor laughed. The boy is no threat. Marcus saw Loren's skin flash with anger. The young Valoran started to move forward, but Zira held him back. Once the war starts, we move to Phase 2. The leader continued. We have buyers lined up for weapons on all sides. We will sell to everyone. The longer the war lasts, the more profit we make. And when they are all exhausted, we take control of the key systems. The Syndicate will finally have real power, someone said with satisfaction. The Syndicate. Marcus had heard rumors about them. A criminal organization that operated across species lines. They dealt in weapons, drugs, stolen technology, anything that made money. But he never imagined they were powerful enough to start a galactic war. We need to record this, Marcus whispered to Takora. We need proof. Takora pulled out a small recording device. She aimed it at the group. But as she activated it, the device made a tiny beep. In the quiet station, it was barely noticeable, but the Syndicate members heard it. The gray-skinned leader turned toward their hiding spot. We have visitors. Kill them. Suddenly, the corridor filled with weapons fire. Marcus and his team ran. Energy blasts hit the walls around them. Takora turned and fired back, hitting one of the attackers. Get to the ship, Marcus yelled. They ran through the dark corridors. More Syndicate members appeared ahead of them. Takora threw one of her blades, and it struck true. The attacker went down. Loren surprised everyone by using his telepathy to confuse another attacker. The being started shooting at shadows instead of at them. They reached the docking bay, but 3 Syndicate members were already there, guarding their ship. Takora charged them with a warrior's roar. She moved incredibly fast for such a large being. Her blade flashed in the dim light. Marcus fired his pistol, the ancient human weapon making loud bangs in the enclosed space. One attacker went down. Zira's energy weapon took out another. The third attacker managed to damage their ship's engine before Takora reached him. She knocked him unconscious with a single hit. The engine is damaged, Zira shouted, checking the systems. We can fly, but not far. Just get us away from here. Marcus jumped into the co-pilot seat. Takora fired up the ship. They shot out of the docking bay just as more Syndicate members arrived. Energy weapons fired at them, but Takora flew the damaged ship like a professional. She dodged through the mining debris using the rocks as cover. Did you get the recording? Marcus asked. Takora checked her device. Yes, we have everything they said. Then we have proof. We can stop the war. If we survive long enough to show anyone, Loren said. He was watching the sensors. We are being followed. 3 ships. They are faster than us. Marcus looked at their damaged engine readouts. They could not outrun anyone. They could barely maintain speed. Where is the nearest space station? He asked. Concordia Prime, Takora replied. But it will take us 8 hours with this damaged engine. And we only have enough fuel for 6 hours. Marcus thought fast. What about emergency power? Life support? We can divert power from life support to the engines. But that means we will run out of air. How much time would that give us? Maybe 7 hours. We would have to cut life support completely for the last hour. Marcus looked at his team. Zira, the Kryn who had betrayed her own people to help him. Takora, the warrior who had lost everything but still chose honor. Loren, the young telepath who believed in truth. We do it, Marcus said. We have to get this evidence back no matter what. Everyone nodded. They were all willing to die to stop the war. Takora diverted the power. The ship moved faster, but the air was no longer being recycled. In 60 minutes, they would start running out of oxygen. Behind them, the Syndicate ships continued their chase. And ahead, somewhere in the dark, 3 great fleets moved toward collision. 54 hours until war. The air in the ship was getting thin. Marcus could feel it with every breath. His head was starting to hurt and his thoughts were moving slower. Beside him, Takora was breathing heavily. Kryn needed more oxygen than humans. She would suffer first. How much longer? Marcus asked. 4 hours to Concordia Prime, Takora replied. Her voice was strained. But the Syndicate ships will catch us in 2 hours. Can we fight them? With a damaged ship and no weapons? No, they will destroy us easily. Marcus looked at the recording device. Everything they needed was there. Proof that the Syndicate had manufactured the crisis. Proof that all 3 powers had been manipulated. But that proof would die with them if they did not reach the station. We need to send the recording ahead, Marcus said suddenly. Broadcast it to Concordia Prime. We cannot, Zira said. The Syndicate is jamming all our communications. We are completely blocked. Loren spoke up from the back. What if we do not use normal communications? What if we use something they cannot block? Like what? Marcus asked. Me. Telepathy. I can send thoughts across vast distances if I have something to anchor to. Another telepath. Can you reach Concordia Prime from here? Loren's skin flickered uncertainly. Maybe. If there is a strong telepath there. If they are listening. But I have never tried to send something so complex over such a distance, and I am not very powerful. You are powerful enough, Marcus said with confidence he did not fully feel. You confused that Syndicate attacker back at the station. You can do this. Even if I could reach another telepath, I cannot send all this data. Not images and recordings. Only thoughts and feelings and simple messages. Marcus thought about this problem. Human problem solving. That was what the galaxy thought humans were bad at. They said humans were too emotional, too reckless, too willing to break the rules. But right now Marcus needed to think like a human. We do not need to send all the data, he said. We just need to send enough to make someone investigate. Enough to make them pause. What do you mean? Zira asked. We tell them where to look. We give them the location of the mining station. We tell them about the Syndicate. Then they can send ships to verify it themselves. Who would believe such a message? Takora asked. Coming from us, criminals and traitors? Marcus smiled despite the thinning air. That is why we do not send it from us. Loren, can you make your message seem like it is coming from an official Veloran source? Loren understood. You want me to lie with my telepathy? I want you to make sure the message is heard. Can you do it? The young Veloran was quiet for a long moment. My elders taught me that deception with telepathy is the worst crime. But they also taught me to protect the innocent. If billions will die because I followed one rule instead of the other, then I choose to save lives. Then do it. Send the message. Tell them about the mining station. Tell them about the Syndicate. Make them investigate. Loren closed his eyes. His skin began to glow with a soft blue light. Marcus could feel something in the air like static electricity before a storm. The young telepath was reaching out across space with his mind. Minutes passed. Loren's glow got brighter. Sweat appeared on his smooth skin. His breathing became rapid. I feel someone. Loren whispered. An elder telepath on Concordia Prime. She is powerful. She is listening. Send the message, Marcus urged. She is asking who I am. She knows I should not be able to reach this far. She thinks it is a trick. Tell her the truth. Tell her about the mining station. Tell her everything. Loren's whole body was shaking now. She does not believe me. She says I am a traitor working with the human. She says, show her your memories, Marcus interrupted. Show her what we saw at the station. Show her the Syndicate members planning the war. I cannot. The distance is too far. I can only send thoughts, not memories. Marcus felt desperation rising. They were running out of time and air. Behind them, the syndicate ships were getting closer. This was their only chance. Then tell her to check the records, Marcus said. 3 months ago, there was a power signature near the mining station. It is in the automated logs. Anyone can verify it. Tell her that. If she checks and we are lying, she loses nothing. But if she does not check and we are telling the truth, billions die. Loren repeated this message. His skin was almost white now from the effort. Then suddenly he gasped and his eyes opened. She is considering it. She is going to check the records. Loren collapsed against the wall, exhausted. I did it. The message is sent. Will she investigate? Zira asked. I do not know, but at least she is checking. Takora checked the sensors. The syndicate ships are 1 hour away now, and we are almost out of fuel. Marcus made a decision. It was a very human decision. It was based on emotion and hope rather than logic. We cannot run anymore. We cannot hide, so we fight. With what? Takora asked. We have no weapons. We have this ship. We have momentum. And we have surprise. Takora's eyes widened. You want to ram them? One of them, yes. We take out one ship, maybe the others will hesitate. Maybe that gives us enough time. That is suicide, Zira said. So is running until we are out of fuel and air. Marcus looked at them all. I am not ordering anyone. This is my choice. But if anyone wants to take the escape pod, do it now. No one moved. We came this far together, Takora said. We finish it together. And besides, ramming an enemy ship is a very honorable way for a warrior to die. I am no warrior, Loren said. But I will not abandon you now. Zira clicked her approval. Humans have a saying, yes? Ride or die. This is what it means. Marcus felt a wave of gratitude for these 3 beings. They came from different worlds, different cultures, but they had become something more than just allies. They had become friends. Then let us give them a fight they will remember, Marcus said. Takora turned the damaged ship around. Instead of running, they flew straight toward the syndicate ships. The enemy was surprised. They had expected their prey to keep fleeing. Target the lead ship, Marcus said. Hit them in the center. That is where their reactor will be. I know where to hit them, Takora growled. I was a navigator for 40 years. The distance closed rapidly. The syndicate ships started firing. Energy blasts hit their shields. The shields held, but barely. Another few hits and they would collapse. Now would be a good time for help to arrive, Zira said nervously. Forget help. We do this ourselves. Marcus gripped his seat. Takora, full speed. The old cargo ship accelerated to its maximum speed. Alarms were screaming. The hull was heating up. They were seconds from impact. Then something impossible happened. A massive Thaxian warship appeared out of hyperspace right between them and the syndicate ships. Then another appeared. Then a Velaran cruiser. Then a Kryn battle carrier. What is happening? Loren asked in amazement. The warships opened fire on the syndicate vessels. The 3 criminal ships tried to run, but they were surrounded. Within minutes, they were destroyed or disabled. The lead Thaxian warship hailed them. The face that appeared on their screen was General Krask himself. Human vessel, power down your engines. You are under arrest. Wait, Marcus said. Did you check the mining station? Did you find the syndicate base? We did. And we found exactly what your telepath said we would find. Krask's expression was unreadable. You have broken many laws. You have stolen ships and information, but you have also prevented a war. The Council will decide your fate. A Velaran voice joined the channel. It was Ambassador Shren. We have arrested several syndicate members on Concordia Prime. They have confessed to their crimes. The evidence is overwhelming. Then a Kryn voice. It was someone Marcus did not recognize. Our people owe you a debt. All our people. Takora powered down the engines. The ship drifted in space, surrounded by the most powerful warships in the galaxy. We need medical help, Marcus said. His vision was getting blurry from the lack of oxygen. And air. We really need air. Help is coming, Krask replied. Your ship will be towed to Concordia Prime. As rescue ships approached, Marcus looked at his team. They had done it. Against all logic, against all probability, they had stopped a war. Loren was unconscious from the effort of his telepathy. Zira was barely breathing. Takora was wounded from the firefight. Marcus himself could barely think straight. But they had won. Not bad for a criminal, Takora said with a weak laugh. Not bad for a team, Marcus corrected. As oxygen flooded back into the ship, Marcus allowed himself to close his eyes. Whatever came next, whatever punishment they faced, it was worth it. The galaxy was at peace. For now. Marcus woke up in a medical bay. The lights were too bright and everything smelled clean. He sat up slowly, his body aching. How long had he been unconscious? A medical drone floated over. Ambassador Chen, please remain still. You suffered oxygen deprivation and minor injuries. You need rest, my team. Where are they? The Kryn, Thaxian, and Velarin are in recovery. They will survive. Marcus relaxed a little. They had all made it. That was something. The door opened and Ambassador Torvin entered. His expression was difficult to read. Was he angry, relieved, disappointed? You should have told me what you were doing, Torvin said finally. You would have stopped me. Yes, I would have. I would have followed proper procedures. I would have filed reports and waited for official investigations. Torvin sat down beside the bed. And billions would have died while I followed the rules. Marcus was surprised by the admission. You were right, Torvin continued. And I was wrong. I thought keeping humanity safe meant staying out of galactic problems. But sometimes safety requires action. He paused. The council wants to see you. All of you. They have been debating for 3 days. 3 days? I have been unconscious that long? Yes. And in those 3 days, the galaxy has changed considerably. The syndicate leadership has been arrested. Hundreds of operatives have been captured on multiple worlds. The 3 powers have agreed to a peace summit. And you, Marcus Chen, are either going to be executed for your crimes or celebrated as a hero. Perhaps both. Marcus got out of bed despite the medical drone's protests. His legs were shaky, but he could walk. Take me to the council. The council chamber was packed. Representatives from dozens of species filled the seats. At the center stood Marcus, Zira, Takora, and Loren. They were not in chains, but armed guards surrounded them. The Luminar mediator floated above them all, its energy form pulsing with light. This council has reviewed all evidence, the Luminar said. We have verified the syndicate's involvement in creating the recent crisis. We have confirmed that all 3 major powers were manipulated. The question before us now is what to do with those who uncovered this conspiracy. General Krask stood. The human broke our laws. He stole classified information. He operated outside official channels. By Thaxian law, this demands punishment. But he also saved Thaxian lives, another Thaxian said. It was Takora's former commander. He prevented a dishonorable war. Does that count for nothing? Ambassador Shrin spoke next. The Valoran Commonwealth also has concerns. Shen recruited one of our telepaths to break his training vows. Loren used deception in his telepathy. This is forbidden. But then the elder telepath who had received Loren's message stood. He also showed courage and wisdom. He reached farther than any telepath his age should be able to. And he chose truth over blind obedience. Perhaps we need more telepaths like him, not fewer. The Kryn representative was a high-ranking general. Zira committed treason. She gave classified data to a human. This cannot be ignored. She also saved the Kryn sovereignty. Someone else argued. She saw the truth when her superiors refused to look. The debate went on for hours. Marcus stood quietly through it all, listening to different species argue about justice and law and honor. He noticed something interesting. The longer they talked, the more they realized how close they had come to destroying each other. Finally, Marcus asked for permission to speak. The Luminar granted it. I know I broke your laws, Marcus said. I knew it when I was doing it. But I had a choice. Follow the rules and watch billions die, or break the rules and maybe save them. I chose to save them. I would make the same choice again. You are arrogant, General Krask said. You think human judgment is better than ours? No. I think my judgment was better than your pride. Marcus met the general's eyes. All of you were so focused on old grudges and traditional procedures that you could not see what was happening. The syndicate counted on that. They knew you would follow the same patterns you always follow. And you humans do not follow patterns? Shren asked. We follow different patterns. We question authority. We break rules when we think the rules are wrong. We act on emotion sometimes instead of logic. The galaxy thinks these are weaknesses, but this time these weaknesses saved you all. The chamber was silent. Marcus continued. I am not saying humans are better. We have our own problems and failures, but we think differently. And sometimes that different thinking is exactly what you need. Takora stepped forward. The human speaks truth. I am Thaxian. We value honor above all things, but our honor made us blind. When someone insulted our breeding grounds, we only thought of revenge. We did not think to question whether the insult was real. Zira clicked her agreement. Kryn value logic and order, but our logic failed us. We saw the evidence and accepted it because it fit what we expected to see. We did not question the source. Loren spoke last, his voice quiet but clear. Fellerans value truth, but we let our pride and our telepathy make us overconfident. We thought we could not be deceived. We were wrong. The Luminar pulsed with bright light. Each of you has given this council much to consider. We will deliberate and return with a judgment. The council members withdrew. Marcus and his team were taken to a waiting room. They sat together, not talking much. They had said everything that mattered. After several hours, they were called back to the chamber. The Luminar spoke. This council has reached a decision. You have all broken serious laws, but you have also prevented a catastrophe. Therefore, we render the following judgment. Marcus held his breath. You will be found guilty of all charges. However, your sentences will be suspended. You will face no imprisonment or execution. Instead, you will serve the galaxy in a new capacity. The Luminar displayed a hologram. It showed a new organization, a new office with representatives from multiple species. We are creating the Galactic Crisis Response Unit. Its purpose is to investigate situations where normal diplomatic channels fail. Its members will have authority to operate outside standard procedures when necessary. They will be watched carefully but given the freedom to act quickly. Marcus began to understand. Ambassador Marcus Chen, you will lead this unit. Zira, Takora, and Loren will serve with you. You will recruit others as needed. You will answer directly to this council and only to this council. You are making us official? Marcus asked in surprise. We are making you useful, General Krask said. You prove that sometimes the galaxy needs those who will break rules to do what is right. But now you will break rules with permission. It was the most Thaxian solution possible. Turn the problem into an asset. We accept, Marcus said. The others nodded. There is more, Ambassador Shren said. We are also implementing what we are calling the Chen Protocol. New transparency requirements for all major powers. Direct communication channels for crisis situations. Regular exchange of information to prevent manipulation. We are changing how we interact with each other thanks to your example. Marcus felt overwhelmed. They had not just stopped a war. They had changed the galaxy's entire approach to peace. Over the next 6 months, Marcus and his team worked to build the Crisis Response Unit. They recruited members from many species. Some were like them, people who had been pushed aside by their societies. Others were young and idealistic, believing they could make a difference. Their first headquarters was on Concordia Prime, in the same sector where they had first met secretly. It seemed fitting. One day, Marcus received messages from all 3 major powers. The messages were nearly identical. Each one grudgingly admitted that humanity brought a valuable perspective to galactic affairs. Each one said they were glad humans had joined the galactic community, even if they were annoying sometimes. Marcus laughed when he read them. It was the closest thing to a compliment that humans had ever received from the old powers. Takora found him on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. What are you thinking, human? I am thinking about how strange life is. 6 months ago, I was a junior ambassador that nobody respected. Now I am in charge of a crisis response unit. How did this happen? You asked the right questions at the right time. Takora stood beside him. You refused to accept what everyone told you was true. That is a very human quality. Is that a compliment? Perhaps. Do not let it go to your head. They stood together in comfortable silence. Zira and Loren joined them eventually. The 4 of them looked out at the galaxy they had saved. Do you think there will be other crises? Loren asked. Definitely, Marcus replied. The syndicate is broken, but there will be others who want war. There will be other manipulations, other conspiracies. Good, Takora said with a fierce smile. I was getting bored. Marcus smiled too. He had learned something important. The galaxy was big and complex and full of different species with different values, but they all had one thing in common. They all needed people who would stand up and say, wait, something is wrong here. The galaxy needed people who asked why before they asked how, who questioned authority, who broke rules when the rules were unjust, who acted on instinct and emotion and hope, not just logic. The galaxy needed humans, even if they did not always want to admit it. Marcus looked at his team, his friends. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Together, they agreed. Outside the observation window, stars shined in the darkness.